Hello there folks and welcome back to the Formula 1 2014 Ferrari career mode on the Xbox One, and today it is time for the British Grand Prix, arguably the best Grand Prix of the season, the 2014 Formula 1 Santander British Grand Prix, a Grand Prix that in real life I actually attended. This was the second Grand Prix that I went to, and if I remember rightly there's a massive smash at the start. I'm sure it was Kimi Räikkönen and somebody else, might have even been Massa, and there was quite a long red flag, but wasn't the best race of all time. I have a feeling that was the race where Nico Rosberg started to run out of power. He was running at the front of the field and Lewis Hamilton took it from him to win the Grand Prix. But nevertheless, it's time to rewrite that history in today's career mode episode. Now, we have been in fantastic form recently. We won the Austrian Grand Prix. In Canada, let's not talk about that. And then in Monaco, we finished in first as well. So 2 wins in the last 3 races have promoted us past our teammate and also past Sebastian Vettel, and us two Ferraris are now in a Red Bull sandwich, just 1 point behind Daniel Ricciardo in the championship standings, only 16 behind Nico Rosberg in the standings. That highlights how much Lewis Hamilton has started to pull away. Hamilton finishes second in the last Grand Prix, winning in Canada, but obviously the Monaco Grand Prix has lessened the lead that both drivers have got on the rest of the pack, but that lead that Hamilton's got already is amazing. You could argue that 9 rounds in, unless Hamilton has a DNF, he's really got the title wrapped up already. But in the Constructors' Championship, we are level on points with Red Bull. So today would be a great chance to try and strengthen that lead. But I really love the British Grand Prix. No chance of rain for this weekend. There is on Friday, but we don't concern ourselves for Friday. So nice and dry, and this will be a little bit of back to normality because the last 3 qualifying sessions we've done well in because they've just been different. Monaco is always wacky anyway. Canada was wet, Austria was wet, and Silverstone won't be wet. So it's going to be a little bit back to normality. If we take that normality as back to normality in Spain, that's quite scary because we were out in Q2. But I'm sure that home crowd boost will hopefully give us a little bit of a boost. But without any further ado, let's see what happens in the British Grand Prix. So this is the 2014 Santander British Grand Prix. Well, I don't think this session will be too hard to get out of. We're a better second off the lap time of Sebastian Vettel. Remember, we are on the primes. I'm sure Sebastian Vettel is as well, but we're well above the bottom 6, that's absolutely fine. But our bank lap is actually probably going to be better than our second lap, but I don't think we should have much issue with getting through. So yeah, I don't think we need to set any more laps. We might as well set one more because we've got the fuel to do it, but we should be quite safe to get through Q1. But we've scrappy lines like that through the first corner. We might have to reassess what we're doing. We were a little bit off the pace there, but down in P14, that's absolutely fine. It's a lap time that gets us through to Q2 ultimately. Half second clear of the bottom 6. The usual suspects, Jules Bianchi leads those 4, and then it's Esteban Gutierrez and Romain Grosjean, the 2 other drivers that drop out. So we're looking for a delta improvement of half a second from the prime tyres. That's what time Jenson Button's got, a 36.1. It actually might have been, yeah, it was a 36.6, I'm sure we set, rather than a 37.6, but I'm doubting myself a little bit now. But anyway, the 36.1 is what we need to get through to the next session. But on these option tyres, that shouldn't be much of a problem. So I'll set a banker, see where we are. We've got fuel for 3 laps, and hopefully one of those will put us through to the next session. Let's have a look then what our initial pace looks like compared to the rest of the runners that we could join out of Q2. Not exactly the best lap from us, a little bit scrappy. We're going to be a few tenths off the lap time of Jenson Button, but 2 tenths to improve isn't the worst benchmark to set ever, I suppose, so that's okay. I can live with that. A few more laps and hopefully we'll find a little bit of time and squeeze through into Q3, but it's fair to say our pace isn't the best at the moment, so that's going to be a little bit of a worry. We need something of an epiphany really to gain some pace around the circuit. We are right on the cusp here, and there's a risk that our lap time won't get any better. If we set another lap time, we're not going to be able to get into the pits in time, so we're going to have to pit just on the risk that we're only a tenth or so above Jenson Button. So we could have set that lap time, maybe improved marginally. But we've got work to do here. We might well just squeeze through to Q3 without any more input, but we're just losing something. We're losing a lot of time, I think, through Sector 2. We'll have a quick look at that when we get into the pit box here, but not exactly sure what's going on at the moment because we've been so on the pace these last few races, so on the pulse, that it's really unusual to be off the pace like this and struggling to get through to the 3rd qualifying session. But it just reaffirms what I was saying about, I don't think it was the car's pace in those last few races. It was more of our initiative. I mean, we took the points where we could. That's a positive thing. As you can see, we're actually really good in Sector 1, doing brilliantly. Our theoretical personal best is a 35.6, so that puts us into 7th place. But No, it's our Sector 2 that needs work, but never mind me chatting. We've got to get out there, put low amounts of fuel in, and hopefully we will squeeze through to Q3. What about that for an improvement in Sector 2? 7 tenths for the second, absolutely outstanding. That'll definitely mean that, well, if we set a better lap time here, that we'll be through. But Kevin Magnussen has displaced us for now, so we have to get it right throughout these last few bends. So the pressure's on. Come on, Ferrari. It's all down to power now. Are we going to get there? Looks like it. And we get through in 4th place. What a great lap time that was. And actually, Jensen displaces Kevin Magnussen. So the man who was in 9th place before all this, thought he was fairly safe, set a good lap. But Jensen beat his lap as well, which means that Kevin Magnussen and Sergio Perez joined Daniel Kvyat, John-Eric Vergne, Maldonado and Suttil in being the casualties of Q2. But Daniel Ricciardo getting in between the two Mercedes, a brilliant lap from Nico Rosberg, but equally a brilliant lap from us, a delta of 9 tenths on what we'd done before. So it's obviously clicking now that it's the second sector that was our problem, and if we can continue that in Sector 3, in qualifying 3, then we've got a real chance of actually qualifying a lot better than maybe a few minutes ago we would have thought for this British Grand Prix, which is absolutely fantastic. So coming up next, Q3. This first run hasn't been as inspiring as before, definitely, but I think that the top guys, the likes of Rosberg, Hamilton, and even Fernando Alonso, have just cranked up their pace, which makes it harder because we're just going 100% all the time. We haven't really got much left in the locker, but that being said, that was a brilliant lap. Goodness me, wasn't expecting an improvement of half a second there, and that puts us in 3rd place for them. And clearly Lewis Hamilton hasn't put on the style yet, but Nico Rosberg is half a second clear of anybody. He seems to be the clear pace setter this weekend, but one more lap time left in this run. Hopefully it can be a little minute improvement, a marginal improvement, but I'll tell you what, I was not expecting that lap time, so that is a big bonus. But one more lap time to go. Hopefully it's a slight improvement. We'll come into the pits, then go out for a final 1 lap, 1 shot run, and see where we can qualify. Okay then, this is how it stands with 1 lap to go. Hamilton has put on the style. He's quickest in sectors 2 and 3, so with a good sector 1, he will take pole position for the British Grand Prix. It's a second row lockout for us at the moment, but we need to improve our time slightly because we have got, I mean, Ricciardo, Massa, Bottas and Vettel can all get past us. The 2 Red Bulls are the obvious threat, but let's see if we can improve our lap time. We've just got 1 flying lap to do it. In fact, oh, that's annoying, I haven't changed the fuel, so it's going to be pretty unlikely. I completely forgot about changing the fuel actually. It's going to be pretty unlikely with this fuel load on that we can improve our lap time. With that being said, we'll go for it, pedal to the metal, etc. and see if we can improve our lap time at all. But from where we were, nearly failing to get through Q2, this is a really good achievement, especially if we can keep it on the second row. 5th is our objective from qualifying, so we've just got to hope that the 2 Red Bulls don't come out of a monstrous lap, and we have got a good chance of starting alongside our teammate on row 2. And like that, the pressure's turned on. 1 by 1, they all went past the line then. Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, Vettel and Valtteri Bottas as well have all displaced us to put us on the 4th row. That is quite a way back. We've improved slightly in the first sector. I mean, this fuel thing isn't going to help our states, but we're going to have to push like hell because we could be starting a lot lower than we thought we were. So that is a bit of a worry. This is good, 3.5 tenths up. I don't know where we're getting this pace from, and I feel if we had less fuel we'd be a lot better, but let's see where this puts us. Obviously don't know what the lap times are of the guys we've improved, but we know it's less than a 35.3, so we've got to push around these last few corners. There's definitely time to be gained here. Not the best run through there really, but oh dear, a bit wide, that's not great. Out of the last corner, what's it going to be? A 35 dead, and it puts us in 6th place. Okay, I'll take that. That is not too bad at all. And we thought that Lewis Hamilton would take pole, but actually Daniel Ricciardo got in between the 2 Mercedes cars. That is fascinating. Fernando Alonso then qualifies in 4th, Vettel in 5th, and because of that last lap time, we qualify in 6th, just ahead of Valtteri Bottas, Nico Hülkenberg, Felipe Massa and Jenson Button. But despite wanting to qualify in 5th place or better, a 3rd row start is certainly not bad for the British Grand Prix. Well, that qualifying ends a run of 3 front rows in a row, but 6th place, it's not bad. It's not the dream pole position in front of the British crowd, but with that helmet with the Union Jack, hopefully that'll push us on to try and achieve something better than our qualifying position. The lights are on for the Santander British Grand Prix. 5 lights are on, and we are away for the start of the British Grand Prix. It's a relatively poor start from the front row actually. Fernando Alonso struggles to get off as well. It's going to take our normal racing line, but oh, That's not what we planned. We tapped the back of Sebastian Vettel, and actually we've lost ground. In the start, we thought we'd gain ground. We're going to have to take the outside line here. Not really much choice. And Rosberg's been pushed out by Lewis Hamilton. He's down to 3rd place. Rosberg, though, up the inside, but we massively outbrake Nico Rosberg. And from 8th place, we've done brilliantly there to be up to 3rd place. The pole sitter, Nico Rosberg, has had an absolutely disastrous start. He is down to at least 6th place. Vettel and Alonso scrapping there for 4th. But it's Daniel Ricciardo who leads the British Grand Prix. The Brit Lewis Hamilton in 2nd and ourselves in 3rd. What a start that was. And we struggled at the start. We tapped the back of Sebastian Vettel. It's fair to say I didn't think we'd be ahead of Sebastian Vettel a few corners later after that. But just look how much of a gap that these top 3 have pulled on the rest of the field. Granted that probably the top 2 will pull a gap on me now. We just haven't got the pace. We haven't had it through qualifying. We're not going to have the race pace either to keep up with Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo. Unless, of course, they start scrapping for the front of the grid. That might help us to gain pace a little, I suppose. But Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, and whoever is behind them, a long way behind. We're going to have a quick check at the race director. So Rosberg has fell to 6th place, Hulkenberg 7th, Massa 8th. Where is Valtteri Bottas in all of this? Bottas all the way down to 13th. And that's an interesting start for him. That's not too good at all. But the big loser in the start is definitely Nico Rosberg. The big winner, though, is us. But Hamilton is right on the back of Daniel Ricciardo. So I would expect to move pretty soon. But for us, I think we've just got to control our pace and hope that Vettel and Alonso start scrapping. But this is a great 3rd place so far. I'm going to make a decision here that I regretted making in Canada. Oh, for God's sake, Alonso. I was going to make a decision which I regretted making in Canada, and that was to let Fernando Alonso through. But we braked a little bit early there, but Alonso just didn't want to go through at all. So it's going to have to be the next DRS straight. But Hamilton and Ricciardo, as you can see, have completely bailed out in front of us. Alonso has overtook Vettel and has got quite close to us. So we've just got to concede that today our teammate is far quicker than us. But whether he actually wants to overtake us is a different question. I'm not going to hold him back for the chance of Vettel and Rosberg catching up to us. I don't want that to happen at all. I do think Alonso has got the pace to potentially get involved in what is very quickly becoming a two-way fight for this British Grand Prix. But I'm not going to bugger about waiting for him. And he's not right behind us. But I guess if we do get an opportunity in the next few laps, I will let Alonso through. We let Alonso through half a lap ago, and he's already nearly 2 seconds clear. As you can see, though, we've got Nico Rosberg right on our backside now. He seems to have got back ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Couldn't get through on that DRS straight, so he's backed off a little bit to hopefully go for it at that time next lap. But just for a bit of scope on our lap times and what it's like compared to our competitors, our best lap was 37.2. Obviously, it's a lot worse this time round because of letting Alonso through and little scrappy moments. But the front runners are setting 35.3s, nearly 2 seconds quicker than me. We're just not going to be able to compete with that. So we have to concede this weekend. It's just a bit of damage limitation. I think we can easily finish 6th. Anything more than that is definitely a bonus. But our pit stop is the next lap. I guess that could change things, shake things up a little bit with the grid, and we'll have to see what happens. So, it's pit stop time. Let's see who's going to come in. Obviously, we know that Fernando won't come in, but let's see if anybody else is. I don't think either of the top 2 are coming in. Well, Lewis must be coming in because Rosberg has elected to stay here, but Sebastian Vettel is right behind us. That could prove to be a bit of a problem, to be quite honest, but let's see how we get on. Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race through coming through to the pits. I'm sure that's a little bit of cheating, but hopefully we don't get held up in this pit stop. We've got the prime tyres on. Are we going to get out straight away? No. Oh, Jesus. We've been held for a long time, and Sebastian Vettel has managed to jump us. I guess that is a small price to pay in the end, but Jenson Button is right behind us. The grid has changed quite substantially. I wonder if Daniel Ricciardo or Nico Rosberg, or even perhaps Fernando Alonso, managed to gain from that in the pit stops that they do on this lap. But maybe we can try and get back ahead of Sebastian Vettel. We just got to focus. We've got DRS on the next straight. This could be quite crucial. We know that Vettel's quicker than us, but we can defend. Track position is always everything. We're going to have the DRS, but as you can visibly see already, Sebastian Vettel, just out of those few corners, has gained time. With the DRS even this far back, I can't see us making any ground on him, so... Well, we'll try and keep up with him in Sector 2. I don't think it's going to happen, but the most interesting part of this is whether Nico Rosberg can jump us in the pits. He was right behind us, but depending on how scrappy it gets in the pit lane with drivers being held up, etc. It's a very tight pit lane here at Silverstone, so it'd be interesting to see how we get on. So as you can see, realistically, Sebastian Vettel's gapped us, so that's us down to 5th. But can we stay ahead of Nico Rosberg. Let's see, it's an interesting pit lane here, as I said already. Let's see if we can get out ahead. There's a few cars there, don't know who they are at the moment, but let's see, that's 4 cars, so where is Rosberg? He's got to be already out there, surely. He's scored, no way is he that. Wow, well that's an impressive pit stop, and also, Daniel Ricciardo has jumped, Ricciardo was already in front of Hamilton, wasn't he, of course. But wow, Nico Rosberg a long way ahead. That's actually unbelievable how much of an effect that pit stop had on us, and both Sebastian Vettel. Remember, Vettel was just behind Rosberg when we come into the pits, but I guess now it's going to be a fairly uneventful stint. Just got to hold on to this 6th place, and that's really the most we could get, which is a little bit disappointing after the last few races, but it's a reminder that this car isn't the one with the most pace on the grid, plus the fact you're going to have races that are up and down. It's just a shame that it is our home Grand Prix and it's not going to be the best result, but 8 points, it's a good amount of points, so that's absolutely fine, but hopefully we can resist any challenge from behind in the last few laps of the race. Just had word in my ear that Hamilton's leading the race, and he has overtook Daniel Ricciardo for the front of the field. I'm wondering if Ricciardo might well have a problem, because Ricciardo was clear of Lewis, but we'll have to see how that one unfolds. Doesn't look like Ricciardo's got any sort of imminent problem anyway, but Lewis Hamilton has took the lead again. You know, another at least 13 points on his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, Nico Rosberg. It looks like a formality that Hamilton's going to have this title wrapped up before the summer break. So it's not going to be the buzz of a win, a podium in front of our home crowd, but as I've said before, 6th place, it's not a bad result. This stint has really just been a standard drive, nothing out of the ordinary. Vettel has pulled away, not substantially I suppose. I mean, to keep it within 4 seconds is fairly impressive considering our earlier pace. Button and the gaggle behind him, the 2 Williams cars, have threatened but haven't really made any sort of moves, so I think we've just got the measure of those guys to stay in 6th place. It's not what the team wanted, considering we qualified in, was it 5th? I think this is where we qualified actually, in 6th place, so we've held on to our position. The team was looking for a little bit more than that to finish in 3rd place, but I mean, if we'd have held Fernando Alonso behind us, then you know, he might well have been in 5th at the moment. So we've given our teammate a few extra points. That'll definitely help in the Constructors' battle. It's, well, let's work it out. Alonso's going to end up with 15, 25 for us, 23. And then Ricciardo 18, Vettel 10. So Red Bull are going to take the onus again by 5 points. But it could have been a lot more than that if we hadn't have let Alonso through. So that was quite important in the end if you think about it. Jenson Button's going to get quite a nice haul of points from McLaren. Williams with 6 points. Not exactly sure who's going to finish in 10th. My guess will probably be Kevin Magnussen. The Force Indians have slipped off a little bit, but it could well be Nico Hülkenberg, I suppose. No reason why it won't be Hülkenberg, but coming into the last lap now, it's been a bit of a subpar Grand Prix, not really too interesting, but after the last few hectic Grand Prix, a chill Grand Prix is probably just what we needed. We've got 2 races left after this one until the summer break. We've got Germany coming up next, a track which I really enjoy, then Hungary, maybe my least favourite track out of the run that goes from Canada to Hungary. But then after the summer break, we've got Belgium and Italy. We've got some really good races coming up, so plenty of good races for you guys to enjoy. It looks like the championship battle's over, but anything below that can be very variable. As you can see, the pace is very different. I mean, if I prepared a spreadsheet of different results, I'm sure you would be able to see that so many drivers have got podiums, different places. It's not been a standard procedure in terms of who's finished where. Sure, I mean, it's quite obvious that Lewis Hamilton being at the top of the championship means that he's been up there most of the time, but Nico Rosberg has had very variable, non-consistent up and down results. We are the classic of having inconsistent results. A first in Monaco, out of the points in Canada. A first in Austria, a 6th here. It's very much up and down at the moment, which just highlights how this season changes race by race. So it's an exciting season, and I'm sure it will continue to be. But we're coming up to the last run of this Maggots and Beckett's complex. No, the driver who's retired is Adrian Sutil in the Sauber, so nothing really, nothing massive in the end. It seems Vettel has gapped even more. 5 seconds is the gap. Lewis Hamilton wins in front of his home crowd. Could have very nearly been Daniel Ricciardo, but they stay in their grid formation in the end. It's not Ricciardo who nicks the win off Lewis, and then it'll be Fernando Alonso in 3rd, Nico Rosberg 4th, Sebastian Vettel 5th, and failing a terrible failure out of this last corner now, we're going to come across the line in 6th, which isn't a bad result as well. Really the worst of the first 3 teams, but sometimes you've just got to take that. Fernando Alonso secures a podium. Looks like it might well have been a Force India perhaps in 10th place, but we'll have a look in the next few seconds. Yep, it was Nico Hulkenberg who got a solitary point for Force India. Sergio Perez has started to slip up. He finished only in 14th. Good race from the Toro Rossos to be fairly competitive, and it's a win for Lewis Hamilton. So that leaves the championship looking like this. No surprise that Daniel Ricciardo's pulled away from us, and Fernando Alonso's also took a 1-point lead against, but quite incredible to see that Lewis Hamilton, only 9 races in, has a 50-point lead on Nico Rosberg. That's a 5.5-point stretch every single race. That's basically, well, the difference between, what, 3rd and 5th every time out, I suppose. Maybe it could well stretch to 7 points a race by the time he gets hungry, which would be a little bit scary. But let's have a quick look at the constructors. Red Bull have stretched out a 5-point lead. Force India are delivering the goods, to be honest, in that battle for 4th. I feel like with McLaren's form, they're actually going to overtake Williams sometime soon. But Toro Rosso leading Sauber and Lotus both on 4 points. And not really surprising that neither Caterham or Marussia have got off to a start just yet. But a decent race there. I certainly enjoyed that. I hope you guys did too. The team not too happy with the race. And I think that in front of our home crowd, we would have expected a bit more. But they'd be harsh to punish us after that. At the end of the day, we won the Austrian Grand Prix. We're on a good run. That's what, 58 points from 3 races. Sure, if we'd have got a win in Canada, we might well be the leading driver in terms of scores over the last 4 races. But what can you do? Not much we can do about that. But Fernando Alonso will remain the first driver. They're reviewing our driver status this weekend. No surprise that will remain that. But we'll soon have the chance to select a championship rival. That'll be after the summer break. And then Hockenheim is up next. Cloudy weather for Sunday. Don't think it's going to be any rain, so no problem there. And race results not too bad. Let's have a quick look before we go at the teammate challenge data. We're struggling a little bit now behind Fernando Alonso, but to be fair, you know, we're only 1 race out of being out racing him, and we're only a point behind him in the championship standing. So actually, despite all the stats, the one thing that matters the most is the points total. And after 9 races, we're only 1 point behind our teammate, which is a pretty good score, considering as well, we've not scored very highly, at least in 2 races. So you've got to consider that as well. But if you guys enjoyed that, make sure to leave a like down below. We'll be back in a few days' time with the German Grand Prix. I really look forward to that. Been a few good races around Germany in the last few years. But as I said, if you enjoyed that, make sure to leave a like down below, comment your thoughts as well, and subscribe for regular F1 2014 content on the channel. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, stay safe, and goodbye for now.